When we think of chronographs, we think of famous models like the Rolex Daytona, the Hoya Monaco, and the Omega Speedmaster. Yet those watches are beyond the reach of most ordinary people. Fortunately, there are brands out there making beautiful chronograph watches at much more reasonable prices. Brands like Nivada Grenchen. The watch in today's video is a contemporary spin on 1960s racing chronographs like the Hoya Carrera, blending vintage design with modern build quality and reliability. Hello there, if you're new here, my name is Louis and this is As Time Decides. This is the Nivada Grenchen Worn Wound Datomaster VK63 V3. The third collaboration between Nivada Grenchen and Worn Wound, and probably the best so far. It looks like an exotic dial chronograph from the 1960s. I was completely captivated by this watch from the start, but because I already own a Nivada Grenchen chronograph, I resisted ordering one for as long as possible. Obviously, I did not resist hard enough. For transparency, I bought this watch with my own money, but it wasn't all smooth sailing, but more on that later. I paid £280 plus another £58 in import duties and taxes. Anyhow, let's take a closer look at this gorgeous chronograph watch. The first thing you'll notice is that it has no tachymeter bezel. Instead, there's a highly polished bezel which lends the watch a more dressy vibe and contrasts nicely against the brushed satin lugs and case. There's a signed push-pull crown, two unsigned chronograph pushers, and a screw-down case back etched with the Nivada Grenchen and Worn Wound branding. The case backs are individually numbered, but weirdly mine is number 152 of a supposed 150. Worn Wound assured me that there was an error in the numbering of the case backs and there are genuinely 150 pieces, but it is a strange error for sure. There is nothing truly exceptional about the case. It's a pretty simple, classic design, but it does lay the perfect platform for the real highlight of the watch, which of course is the dial. The dial is a beautiful mint green with two matching subdials at the 3 and 9 and a darker teal centre section and subdial at the 6 o'clock. I absolutely love the colours and the contrast between them, which is further enhanced by the purple, grey hour markers and subdial hands. 6 o'clock date window is somewhat colour matched but not quite spot on. I love the use of colour on dials, especially limited editions. It's just an easy way to set the watch apart from the competition. The dial is protected by a domed K1 mineral crystal, which I know will upset the sapphire lovers, but honestly, I've never had an issue with mineral glass. I guess I must be more careful than most when it comes to crystals. Movement is, as the model name suggests, a Seiko VK63 meca-quartz. I know that a significant number of people despise meca-quartz, but I'm not ashamed to admit that I mostly buy watches for the aesthetic. It has 1, 2, 3 sub-registers. Perfect. Call me shallow if you like, but regardless of which side of the fence you stand, there are in fact very few affordable mechanical chronograph options. There's the Seagull ST1901, which is nice to look at, but has questionable reliability and longevity. And apparently Seagull has introduced a minimum order quantity of 10,000 units, essentially cutting off supply to smaller brands. There's the Seiko or TMI NE88, which Laurier used for the Olympia, but had to be slimmed down from an enormous 17mm thickness, and as a result the watch costs $999 US, which is way more than any other Laurier. And then there's the Sellita SW510, which is Swiss made, but that bumps the price up to around $2,000 US, which is unaffordable for many. The first movement maker to produce a slim, affordable chronograph movement, a mechanical chronograph movement, for under $1,000 in a watch, or even for watches under $500, that would be a true game changer. That would be mind-blowing. And I hope it happens in the same way that the Seiko NH34 and Miyota 9075 democratized mechanical GMT movements. Is it technically possible? I don't know, but it would be amazing if it is. Let's quickly run through the dimensions. It's rather small for a chronograph at 36mm in diameter, with a thickness of a rather slim 12mm and a lug-to-lug measurement of 43.5mm. However, I think the lack of a tachymeter bezel does make it look slightly larger. The lug width is a handy 20mm. The strap is a leather racing style in a sort of light chocolate brown. It tapers from 20mm at the lugs to 18mm at the buckle. It is nice and supple and feels like a decent quality leather. At the wind-up show in New York, I did buy another strap for this watch at the wind-up watch shop booth. I thought the colour and style was perfect for the watch, and honestly it is, but sadly the keeper is too narrow for the strap because of the taper, and so I'm left with this flap of suede which looks goofy as hell and makes the strap unwearable for me. If you've got a larger wrist it will be fine, but it just doesn't work for me. 30 quid wasted. As I mentioned earlier though, buying this watch wasn't all plain sailing. The watch was sent from the USA via eBay's global shipping agent, and the shipping agent absolutely slashed the shit out of the watch box, almost destroying it. I complained to eBay and their proposed solution was to return the watch for a full refund, which would have left me out of pocket. The staff were a little bit rude and dismissive as well, and it's not the first problem that I've had. A previous Tissot Heritage Z197 Navigator World Time I bought was damaged and had a replacement crown, but made it through eBay's authentication process. Luckily I got my money back then and managed to find one in perfect condition, but even so it doesn't fill you with confidence. It's weird because eBay claims to want to be a safe and enjoyable place to buy watches, but the way they conduct their business just isn't congruent to that. You know, I wouldn't buy an expensive watch on eBay even if you paid me. eBay is simultaneously great and absolutely infuriating. It has soured the experience somewhat, but I'm still very pleased with the watch and it's definitely a keeper. Well, at least for the foreseeable future. You know how it goes. For me, Nivada Grenchen is making some of the most attractive, affordable chronograph watches on the market right now. In 2023 came the gorgeous Chrono King Paul Newman with its orange accents and golden subdials, which I added to the collection last year. I think they've actually had to stop using the Paul Newman moniker, probably for legal reasons, I imagine. And there is another Nivada Grenchen chronograph I would consider adding to the collection at the right price as well, the Chrono King Grey Glow, which has loom subdials and was a collaboration with Hodinkee. I'm sure there will be more in the future too. As always, let me know in the comments down below what you think. That's all I've got time for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll certainly see you again next time.